me?
Yeah, right there.
We're consumers now. We're not a producing people like we used to be.
Who I had the pleasure with interviewing today.
Billy Clifton.
How you doing, Mr. Billy Clifton? Welcome to the show.
I am very thankful to be alive.
Tell us a little bit about yourself, where you from and where you was born at.
I was born here in Tupelo, Mississippi, and let me tell you, hell, it ain't a damn thing to brag about.
How was your family growing up?
My family, man, back in the 70s and the 60s, it was a different atmosphere in the community. It was more of a brother and sister attitude than it is now.
Any siblings growing up?
I'm the only child and I'm not spoiled because I'm poor.
So tell us, how was your childhood between the ages 8 and 12?
Well, the thing that I can remember is that when I was younger, and I'll lie to you not about this, that I remember drawing in the dirt with a stick or a nail. And I think about that every once in a while because here I am now, still drawing, but I'm not drawing in the dirt with a stick or nail. I'm putting it on canvas with a paintbrush and a pencil.
Did you witness any childhood abuse growing up?
No, sir. Back in the days, it wasn't a whole lot of that going on. Not like it is now. Because you have mothers here, they putting their babies in the oven and cutting the oven on. And you have a lot of young mothers now that you didn't have back then.
How were you in middle school?
Middle school in Tupelo at the time in the 60s and 70s. I know this might ruffle a lot of fellows with former teachers. They destroyed a whole lot of black minds here in Tupelo. It was just like putting a pen in the brain of a black child. I'm talking about you had black teachers, black cafeteria workers, librarians, principals, but when it came to history, hell, we didn't know nothing about it.
How did you discover your talent and your gift as an adolescent?
Well, let me tell you, brother, and I know when I say this, people don't say, you was in prison? Well, hell, a lot of people are still in prison, mind-wise. When I went to prison, I got free from this rat race, and I lost my mother in the process. And I made a promise to my mother sitting on my prison bunk one day that I was gonna do something really to make her proud of me. And I've been at this ever since 1976.
What led you to the penitentiary?
Selling marijuana. Matter of fact, I gave the informer the marijuana, and he was trying to stay out of prison. So hell, he lied and said I sold it to him.
Wow.
So they busted a bunch of guys, and I don't know about females, back in 1975. So I went to court, and the judge gave me 5 years, suspended 2. So I was locked up from the summer of 75, and I got out the summer of 76 on work release.
Is drawing and painting is what you always wanted to do?
Well, hey, that's my calling. That's my calling. Anytime God bless you with a gift, the thing is for you, are you in tune with Him close enough to receive the gift that He's already blessed you with? Because I heard God is the creator of everything in heaven as well as here on earth, and we are part of His creation. He didn't create us just to raise hell with Sam down the road or raise hell with Mary on the job. We have a bigger purpose for being here, and a lot of us spend a lifetime here not discovering what our purpose is.
Great. How many kids do you have?
I have 4 daughters and 2 grandkids. And that's why I don't have any black in my hair. They don't wear it all out.
How old were you when you had your first kid?
Man, hey, I ain't gonna sit here and lie to you and tell you I remember that. Because sometimes I have problems trying to remember who I am.
How was your grandparents growing up?
Well, my grandparents, my grandfather, I never knew them. But before my auntie died, her name was Mary Galloway. Everybody used to call her Mom May. She told me that my grandfather was a sharecropper working for a white man in Berlin. He found out that the white man was cheating him. He balled up his right fist and knocked him out with one punch, and he had to leave Berlin with his family.
Wow.
That's the only thing I know about my grandfather.
How real was the struggle growing up with your parents? Did you witness your parents struggle while you were growing up?
Well, hell, back then, man, we was poor, but we didn't know we was poor. Yeah, we didn't know we was poor back in the day, but we managed. We had, like I said earlier, back in the day, we had a different attitude towards each other, and we had a lot of respect for each other. We used to greet each other by brothers and sisters. Now we are greeting each other by the N word and the B word. See how society we just been programmed to the point where, hell, we don't know who we really are.
And how people really need to tune in who they really are. Did you witness any drug abuse in the family, or did you have any drug addictions growing up?
Well, back in the day, man, hell, drugs wasn't plentiful like they are now, because people usually drink some home brew or get a little hit of whiskey, and hell, they were good. Some beer. They didn't have drugs like they have now, back in the day.
Did you witness the civil rights movement?
Well, let me say this about the civil rights movement. Being from Tupelo, it was a news blackout about what was going on in Birmingham, what was going on in Jackson. Hell, when Martin Luther King was assassinated, we didn't find out until way years later. It was a news blackout. They didn't want black people to start burning down stuff, so they blocked the news. Hell, like they do now.
What emotions do you go through on each painting?
Well, it depends on what I'm trying to say with the artwork.
Like, elaborate on the picture standing right behind you.
Yes, the picture that's standing right behind me is just basically fantasy art. But see, black people are not getting along like the artwork portrayed them to be. It's a lot of senseless killing, a lot of backstabbing, and a lot of neck cutting. We are so at each other's throat that we haven't really discovered who the real enemy is. And the real enemy is white supremacy and racism.
Does this picture represent the past or the future?
Well, it represents the future, but it also represents the past in a way that black people can have businesses and, spend money at those businesses and just act like, hell, we got some sense.
What is the most important thing about art?
About my art
Correct.
is that you don't see pictures of little white ducks swimming in a lake. You see images of black people conducting their business on a day-to-day basis, acting like they got some sense, respecting each other, and hey, just showing love.
Why do you pay homage to your ancestors before and after painting?
Because hey, man, let me tell you, when you talk about the sacrifices that those people made for us today, and that I'm talking about, words could not express what black people have went through back in the days before I was born, even further than that. Slavery, because say a lot of people might not believe this. In the year 2024, black people are still suffering from slavery. I don't know if a lot of the people who might witness this video have heard of Willie Lynch, the Willie Lynch letter.
Break it down and elaborate of who Willie Lynch is and what did he do?
Willie Lynch was a slave owner in the West Indies that came up with a foolproof plan for controlling black slaves. Whether the slave lived in the valley, whether they lived in the house, whether they was tall, short, nappy hair, coarse hair, big nose, big lips, whatever difference that the slaves had, he came up with a plan to turn the black female against the male, and turn the young black male against the old black male, turn the old black male against the young black male. But the overseers and people in their plantation house, they would continue this process. So that's why I said earlier that a lot of our people are still suffering today in 2024 from slavery.
What was your most well-known painting that you first got applaud for, and explain why?
Man, let me tell you, after 48 years, that's a question I cannot answer this day.
What builds up your self-esteem?
I realize that I'm gonna have to leave this physical world one day. And so this time that God have allowed me to be here, how do you spend your time every day, every week? Can you look back and see where your time has been spent? Are you just going through life, just acting crazy all the time? In other words, I'm saying, damn, I got a purpose, man. I don't hang out with nobody but God. Now that's all I need.
How have the passing of your daughter affected you?
Well, it affected me just as well as any other parent who loses a child. And she still lives here in my heart and in my mind and every day. And I got a picture in the hallway of her and her sister, and I say something to her every time I pass by. And when I'm talking to God asks for my prayers in the morning and the evening. I make sure I can include her in that prayer.
Could you elaborate? How did she pass away from us?
Well, she had heart problems.
She suffered from that all her life?
No, she was just found out, maybe a year and a half before she passed.
I know you've witnessed racism numerous and countless of times.
Man.
But what was the most racist thing that ever happened to Mr. Billy Clifton?
Man, I've been dealing with racism so much. Racism and white supremacy is the business of the day, and it always have been. And as for dealing with racism and dealing with these race soldiers, I don't know if a lot of our people know about race soldiers. Race soldiers can be the Tupelo Police Department or the Sheriff Department. I had an exhibit at the Gumtree Museum in February of this year. And on that exhibit I had two paintings of police officers, got their guns up in the air, and you got a young man there with stop the killing, everybody got their hands up. But seemed like hell, if you got your hands up, you got a comb or a cell phone in your hand, hell, you still wind up getting shot and killed. And these race soldiers will go to court. You got a white judge, white prosecuting attorney. Most of the members on the grand jury are white, so he just get out with just a slap on the wrist and just say, go out there and kill some more niggas now.
What makes you happy, Mr. Billy?
Being able to enjoy life to the fullest. You can't put a price tag on that.
What was your interpretation on success?
Success is what you make out of it.
What is Billy Clifton's success?
My success is to be able to share my artwork with others and to be able to generate some funds in the process. Knowing what's going on in Tupelo, we mostly keep up with the drama. We don't try to keep up with the positive things and the positive things brothers and sisters are doing right here in the so-called all-American city.
What makes Billy Clifton act out of character?
Dealing with niggers.
elaborate what a nigger is in your definition?
My definition of a nigger is someone who still act like they on the plantation. I'm talking about it is too much information out here now for you to want to be a good nigga. You ought to be trying to be the men and women that God wants you to be instead of the men and women that man wants you to be. Because if you're trying to be the men and women God wants you to be, get ready to catch some hell, because that goes with the territory.
What is the most disrespectful thing that an artist can do that can compromise his character?
Well, brother, I'm gonna tell you, after 40-some years, I haven't seen that. Not in my lifetime, you know, because I'm focused. This is my love. This is my passion. So ain't no out of character about nothing I do when it comes to my God-given gift.
What is the hardest part about your life?
Being a black man in America. That has always been a problem for black people. Not just for me, but black people who are strong and don't fear nobody but God.
How has society changed from when you grew up to now?
Back in the day, man, we act like we had some sense. We didn't have a whole lot. Back in the day, a lot of people didn't have cell phones back then, and very few people had landlines in their homes. And a lot of people didn't have cars, so we kind of basically walked where we needed to go, caught a ride with someone we know. But as for the attitude then and the attitude now, man, you can flush it down the toilet now. But we don't got so low down in our behavior towards each other.
Where do you see yourself 3 years from now, Mr. Billy?
Well, if God give me health and strength, I'm gonna continue to do what I've been doing for the last 48 years until He called me home.
What was your biggest failure in life?
Being born a black man. Because a lot of people have brought us out. They don't think we supposed to be able to achieve anything because of our black skin. But our history bear witness. Our history definitely bear witness. How great a people our ancestors used to be and how greater people that we can be today.
Why do you feel like they try to erase our history?
Well, hell, they don't want us to know. Now, I have a painting right up here on the wall. And it's called The Big Lie. And it deals with white explorers. When they went to Africa, their little racist mindset couldn't handle what their eyes were seeing came out of the head of a black person. So the first thing that they would do is cut off the nose and the mouth. And sometimes, hell, they cut off the whole head. Knowing your history and knowing the struggle that those that came before you will motivate you to want to do some great things in your life.
Who was the greatest president for Billy and why?
Not damn one of them. I tell people all the time, look, stop putting so much damn trust in these politicians and put more trust in God, because that's where the power is.
What is your belief on religion?
When you start talking about religion, man, you will get in a whole lot of arguments, but the way that religion is being taught today, 2024, is still keeping our people on the plantation mentally. Now, the Nation of Islam, they motivate their members. They got businesses. I know a lot of people have a problem with Farrakhan, but let me tell you, Farrakhan, he's a shaker. He's a mover. He motivates black men and women to be the men and women that God would want them to be.
What is the difference between being programmed systematically and programmed mentally?
Well, damn near both the same. There's too much information out here now for you to want to be a good nigga.
Do you feel like Martin Luther King, I Have a Dream speech was to get in favor of America's oppressor?
They'll put that image out there and that information on Brother Dr. King, you know, and having a dream. But once he met with Elijah Muhammad, the most honorable Elijah Muhammad, these two black men had a sit down. I don't know for how many hours, but after that, Dr. King realized, so he was fighting for integration. He realized that he was inviting his people to a burning house.
Do you feel like Martin Luther King died for nothing?
No, he didn't die for nothing.
How did it make the black community feel? I have a clipping in a picture of the Ku Klux Klan in Tupelo at the police department and marching back in
Oh yeah,
those days.
oh yeah. Well, you know, the Ku Klux Klan, man, hell, they always been here. They in the police force, they in the sheriff's department, they in the FBI, CIA. Hell, you probably got some down there in City Hall. They everywhere. But see, the thing is, the Ku Klux Klan, they don't got smart. Hell, we ain't got to dress up in no suit. I mean, in no hoods and long robe. We can wear 3-piece suits now. We can wear Jordans and well-to-do clothes and fit right in and still have that racist mindset.
Do you feel like the government came up with welfare back then to get the dominant male out the household?
Oh, hell yeah. Yes.
How did a pandemic affect you?
Pandemic didn't really affect me. Hell, I kept on doing what I was doing. I was just trying to watch something and you know, mislead information. The coronavirus was created Wuhan, China, and Dr. Fauci is still getting death threats. It was a man-made disease and killed a whole lot of folks all over the world.
Do you believe the water crisis in Flint, Michigan was a genocide amongst black people?
Hell yeah. The water, they did. You got a black man in Jackson right now that is dealing with the same thing they did in Flint, Michigan. You have white folks that were control of the water system, and hell, they started getting the water out of the lake. Hell, that's why I say if you want to kill off a lot of people, deal with the water and the food.
Do you believe that Yaqub is the father of the white race?
Yaqub, man, Yaqub.
Enlighten us on Yaqub.
Yaqub was a mad scientist that had a big head. He came with a grafting program. The darker the baby, kill them all. So he got to the point where he was experimenting on babies. The information concerning Yaqub, it is super deep. Remember that name and what he had in place to create the white race.
What was the biggest betrayal you witnessed in your lifetime?
Is that how the powers that be have hidden our history so deep to the point that we don't care nothing about our history. I'm talking about every February come around, hell, it's just 1 month out of the year.
Who was your role model growing up? Who inspired you?
Who inspired me was Jesus.
I've witnessed here, we don't support one another, but we will support somebody that's outside our community, or our opposite race will support us more than we support our own selves in our own city right here.
Well, that's that slave mentality. That's what that is. That's that slave mentality. You support everybody else but your own. I don't want to see that so-and-so do no better than me. If I can throw a stumbling block or hell a truck in front of his or her way, I do that. The person that they trying to stop movement, they have discovered their purpose, and the food that's trying to throw a stumbling block in a person's path, they haven't discovered their purpose. They still got that slave mentality.
What would you like to say to all the female teenagers that's getting pregnant out here with no guidance, nobody in their lives?
Let me tell you, I am sick and tired of seeing babies having babies. But, you know, we living in a different generation now, but so much of the adult life is presented to our young people. They growing up too fast. A few months ago, she put her newborn baby in the oven and turned the oven on.
Wow.
I'm talking about these young mothers, they just having too many, and there's too much birth control on the market.
Who do you feel like is the biggest sellout on television for the
Oh,
black-faced?
Yeah,
For
you got a bunch of them.
give me 3 of them.
Steve Harvey, Oprah Winfrey, Gayle King.
Besides yourself, who is the greatest artist to ever live besides Billy Clifton?
Billy Clifton. Yeah, Billy Clifton.
Better know it.
Yeah, Billy Clifton.
Best to know it.
Yes, sir. Definitely know it. Ain't ashamed to say it neither. Billy Clifton. I'll say it again.
Tell everybody where they can follow you at.
They can follow me on Fine Art America, Billy Clifton Art, and you will be able to see 25 images on this website. And each image on the website, you'll be able to get the accessories to that image, whether it's phone case, coffee mugs, t-shirt, wall art, home decor. So blow me up.
Y'all blow him up, and he do take donations.
Yes.